Let's do this. Damn, that feels good. So, guys, welcome to the live show for the Growth Mode podcast. So we did this for the first time last year at the Badass Business Summit, and it was a fucking blast. Because you get Kevin and I full smart assery, answering questions, joking back and forth, and we have a lot of fun putting this on. So just know that we're live, and this will be a no holds barred. So you're going to see my smart assery on full display. Because one of the feedbacks I get all the time is, damn, you're mean to Kevin.
He is. He's mean. He's horrible.
So we asked our audience to submit some questions that we're going to go through and answer and see if we can't help them out a little bit with their businesses and see if we can't get you guys some advice as you're listening to this and it's coming out. But Kevin, you want to add anything before we freaking?
No, I'm good.
All right, let's fuck it. Let's get after it.
All right. So we have a bunch of questions. First one is from Amex, Lauren Ammon, from Performance Reimagined. Where is she? There's no screaming from her. All right. So what her question is, what has been your biggest mindset challenge in building the business?
For me, it's 100% not asking for help. So that's tough, right? You know you need to lean in and ask for help on different things, but man, sometimes that ego gets in your fucking way. And there's different things inside the company that you need to get fucking better at, but sometimes you're like, fuck, I'm doing all these things. Look at me go. Look how awesome I am. And the next time I turn a corner, I'm like, oh, fuck, I just got fucking blindsided, right? So, same issues that a lot of people fucking deal with is I don't want people to know I'm fucking up in that lane, right? Because if you get vulnerable on that freaking thing, right, they're going to see you naked. And I have to also remind my damn self that I can't tell others to do what I won't fucking do myself. So, but that's my biggest one.
Yeah, I think for me, a big one is the whole imposter mindset and wondering, should I really be on this stage? Should I be the person? Yes, I should. See, you're the cause. No, but it's should I be the person doing this? Am I really the one that should be teaching people how to grow their business? Do I have the experience? Do I have a story that people even want to hear? And that was a big one for me, especially when I started doing podcast appearances I just have a normal story. It's boring. No one's going to care. But then the more I told it, I had people really diving in and saying, oh my God, all right, I need to tell you, you did that? Okay, tell me more. And really latching on to some key parts of my story that I just thought were just, every day, every business owner does that. And it wasn't. It was something special. And it helped them process things. And I was like, cool. All right. Maybe I should be the one up here. And that's made it a lot easier to do this type of stuff and keep pushing forward and knowing that you're having that impact.
I know he came back from one podcast and he's like, holy shit. They were asking me questions that I actually had answers to and I knew how to answer. He goes, I couldn't believe that I could literally get through those things. And he was like, the host was leaning in the entire time. She was like really into it. That was cool to see him come back that way.
All right. This one is from Laura DeFranco from Brave Healer Productions and present.
Right, because last year I just said Brave Healer and didn't say her whole damn company.
Yeah. And she's actually president of our Bethesda Badass chapter. I'm sorry, group. It's a group now. All right. Her question: how can we move through the fear of taking a financial risk to grow? When we can't afford it, and can't afford it is in quotes.
Oh man, it's extremely hard, and I tell you, for me personally, I just take a leap of faith and bet that I can pull it off, and that's the best answer I can give you. I have written some big ass checks that I wasn't sure my ass could cash. And it scares the fuck out of me every damn time. And I'm always been able to sell my way out of almost anything. So if I needed to make it happen, I needed to make it, pop up. I just fucking take a big ass gamble and go, knowing that I've always figured it out, which is a scary damned way to play it and a scary thing to say. But I don't have any good things to say about, maybe you should put some money back or all that. Go talk to all the financial gurus that can help you with that kind of stuff. All I can tell you is I scare the pure living shit out of myself.
I think it really depends on what that financial risk is.
That's valid. Valid.
Is it a financial risk where you are hiring someone so that you free up your time? Or is it a financial risk of we're going to throw a summit in 6 months right. And we don't know what it's actually going to do for us, or it's a Hail Mary pass?
Get speakers
Yeah. So, if you're a financial risk is I'm going to hire someone so that they can start doing stuff for you. Well, then the idea should be, well, that's going to free up X number of hours for me that I can go sell stuff now. Because I now have that increased bandwidth, that increased capacity to actually do the thing. So I should be able to go out and now fill that time. So instead of just having 40 hours a week that you can bill out for whatever your product or service is, now theoretically you can have 80. You should be able to double your client base. But that requires you to then not find other stupid things to fill that time with, which most business owners are really fucking good at, right? Or they will I have free time, so now I'm going to do this stuff instead of doing what they're supposed to and doing the business development work, the reach outs, getting on podcasts, doing stages. That's the whole reason we started the Champions 90 Challenge, is so that you're now forced to do those things that are actually going to generate revenue and get you moving forward so that you can hire those people and fill their time. And yes, I'm doing the Champions 90 Challenge too.
Which is awesome because this fucker hates social media, right? With a damn passion. The other thing that I'll tell you is there's times when I will play with the numbers. And what I mean is I'll look at the overall financial cost of whatever it is, depending on what it is. And then I look at it from the perspective of, okay, how many new people in Champions Table? How many new people, inside of SCN? How many people do we need at the summit? And I look at it and go, okay, if I take this gamble based on past history, can we hit those numbers to cover this cost? And I usually process it very, very quick. And man, I tell you, we've done it every time, but it's literally going and saying, fuck it, I'm going to bet on me and go. Now, I don't want anybody to fucking do it and then not work and come back and say, you're an asshole because you said bet on you. And I was, this is on you. You make the choice, you own the fucking choice.
That's right. You all heard that Donnie does analysis.
Yeah.
All right. And it's not me making him do it. So, but we have those conversations all the time during our weekly operations meetings. All right, so we want to do this thing. What is that going to allow us to do instead? And are we going to be able to generate enough additional revenue to support having that as an expense? And for us, being able to make those financial decisions, the big shift for us was we had to understand our financials. And that was, Donnie talked about that earlier, about you have to know how your money's being used and how you're using your money. So we had to figure out, all right, so what are we actually all paying for? Because it's really easy to have, we have a subscription to this thing and we have a subscription to this monthly service. A lot of
times it was, holy fuck, we still have a subscription to that.
Yeah. But we started looking at it, it was like, we haven't used that for a year. Yeah. Damn it. So it was going through and cleaning that up, and then we could say, all right, here's what we are spending. All right. And now we're more confident in being able to add on more expenses, because we actually knew what was coming out and what's coming in.
Yeah, and I would also say, year one of the summit, we didn't have a budget or a plan, right? We were 100% winging it. And the main reason was we didn't have the money to pay for it. So how the fuck do you put a budget together when there's $0, right? So So we were taking a gamble that we would sell enough fucking tickets to cover the cost of everything. That's how I did it. Now, as we moved into year 3, we had budgets and, those things. But when especially if you're at the beginning stages of it and there's like no money to throw at it, right? That's when you need to look at whatever you sell and hopefully figure out how many of the things I need to sell will cover it. Can I pull that off? And that's how we've really done a lot of things.
And I think for that first summit, it wasn't so much that we didn't have a budget. It was more that we didn't actually know what things were going to cost.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that we didn't want one. We
said.
Didn't know how to put it together because we didn't know what we should be paying for food, or we didn't know what we should be paying for hotels. We didn't know, for audio and visual, what that was going to cost. And Lord, you know how much it costs for curtains to put behind a stage? My God. So it's all those little things that every time we ask about something, oh yeah, that'll be $1,500. Yeah. Jesus Christ. So the first one was a huge learning thing for us for the financials. Yeah,
literally the venue refused to continue talks with me. They had to talk to the rest of the team because I just don't. They were constantly saying, nope, you can't do that. Nope, you can't do that. And it's like there's nothing else going on in this whole venue. Why not? And they didn't like me asking questions, so the rest of the team had to end up dealing with them.
He may have made their salesperson cry.
Yeah, that happened.
So, all right, next question. Where do I begin with creating an operations plan? And this is from the Monica Tuck at U Studio.
Oh, go.
Oh, all right, awesome.
You're looking at me like I'm going to do operations.
All right, so we do a thing we started this about a year ago. We do a thing for Success Champions called Lines of Effort. And it's a thing that I learned in the Army.
We do this for Champions Table.
But we do it for Success Champions.
Oh, yeah, we line our, yes. So to explain that, Success Champions is the actual company. Underneath that, you have Success Champion Networking, Champions Table, Badass Business Summit. Okay, just so you guys understand the structure behind it.
So, yeah, line of effort is something we teach at Champions Table to our mastermind members, but it's something we actually use. All the stuff we teach is either stuff we fucked up or things that we use at work. So you get both sides. So LOE, a line of effort, is something that I learned in the military. And it is basically a tool that allows a brigade commander or higher commander to make sure that he's utilizing his unit's time effectively to complete the mission that he's been given. So these usually really come into effect after all the kinetic fighting's done, and we're now landowners, and we're now rebuilding, and we're government making for whoever, like in Afghanistan or Iraq. After all the battle was done, now we're working with the new civilian government to rebuild all their stuff. So we'll create these lines of effort, and then when people will come into the commander and say, hey, commander, can I get some money because we want to do this school, or we want to do this thing, and we need you to do this with this mosque. It all goes back to that line of effort. Does this support this end state? If it doesn't support one of our lines of effort, we don't do it, because it's now a waste of resources that we could be putting towards helping people be comfortable voting, or getting the services back online so everyone has running water. So we do that in Success Champions to figure out, all right, so where's our focus going to be for the year? And we'll set it up. In the next couple of months, we'll start working on next year's, but we'll have usually 3. So this last year, ours was growth, specifically revenue, members, our brand, and making sure we had a brand out there and people were recognizing us. And then the third one was culture. So everything that we started looking at and putting into play for the year had to fit one of those 3 things. We identified specific end states that we had to hit to say, yes, we successfully achieved our culture goal for the year.
And let me tell you, once we had the LOE laid out, and he actually had to teach me this, right? And once we had it laid out and we were walking through it, it was so fucking cool to see the company laid out, and we were able to say, okay, this book is going to launch here. We're going to be here. And you could see all the moving parts, and it did 2 things. One, it got me to quit asking dumb questions, Like,
no, that's not a thing.
But I'm constantly on Kevin. When are we gonna do this? When are we gonna do this? When are we gonna do this? And now I had a laid out fucking game plan of all the different things and when they were coming up and when they were coordinating. Two, it got me to quit stressing on when I needed to start working on a thing, because we would put different things inside different quarters and you could just see it. Okay, we're gonna work on that then. So a prime example of one of the things that was on the LOE is up until Monday, we have it set that if you go listen to the Growth Mode podcast, every episode in there will start with a commercial for this Badass Business Summit, right? On Monday, it'll be changed to promote Champions 90, right? But that is in the LOE, so we know that's when we need to do and actually carry it on. So
the other big thing it did for him was it stopped us, and I'd say him, but it was me too, because I did it as well. It stopped us from playing the squirrel game.
Big time.
Where we would call each other. It's like, oh, I had an idea, which was code in our world for, well, we're going to have to do work. Or is more specifically, oh, Kevin's going to have to do work.
That's a bit more appropriate.
But we would do that. And leading up to us starting having that in place, so we'd regularly have conversations as I was driving home from the cities or doing something. It's like, all right, so I was thinking about this. We should do this thing and do that. And we'd brainstorm and we have this big plan that we'd throw into action in like a week. As now, it's like, all right, where does that fit in the LOE? Where do we have bandwidth to do that? So now we're starting to be able to lay things out across the year and say, oh, we're going to work on this. This quarter was really a focus on the summit leading up to, through today. So everything was like, all right, how does this support the summit? Was it the potential of a book launch, our podcast appearances, and we could keep everything focused. And it's allowed us to really maximize our time and not get distracted by stuff that sounds really cool and looks like it's going to be really fun for us to do, but isn't actually solving or getting us moving forward.
This is why I'll tell you, a lot of people, when they start getting to the point of hiring, want to hire the person that's just like them. That's who they think they need to hire. That's the wrong fucking move. Don't hire your doppelganger, fucking hire your arch nemesis. Hire the person that is exactly opposite of you, right? I hate process, operational things, systems, all that stuff. That's his world. And once again, I'll keep saying it allows me to free up my time to go do what I'm good at, which is be the pretty face out front.
He's not really good at that either. All right, next question. This is, I just asked one from her, so we're going to wait for a bit. Since we're talking about hiring, let's do this one. This is from Christine Dean from the DFW Networking Diva. What is the best time to hire help in your business?
Before you need it. Before you can afford it. And that's the real answer. You hire before you can afford it. Because I'm telling you, it is absolutely going to, if you know specifically what you're hiring for, right? You need to be hiring your first hire, just so you know, if you've ever wondered, your first hire needs to be a fucking administrative assistant. Operations. Because you're not going to get rid of sales, guys. That shit's going to stay. But your first hire is to get the operational shit off your plate so you can go do more business development. Okay? And you got to look at it from the perspective, I can't afford. But if I can get these things off my plate, I can go sell. And then you have to actually go fucking sell.
That kind of ties into this question from Cheryl Hayes of InPowerStrategist.com. How do you balance debt against doing it all on your own? Example, hiring someone and going in debt to do it.
You're going to go into debt to do it. I mean, that's all there is to it. You're going to take a gamble, and this is the thing, guys. Sales fixes most of your problems. If you got enough revenue coming in, you can hire the experts that can make shit right. If you won't sell, you're going to suck for a long time. This is one of the reasons we put the Champions 90 together, was so we could literally help people get out there and go get in sales conversations. The best way to figure out how to sell, by the way, 100 conversations. 100 conversations with people who can say yes to you. And if you, by the time you get through 100 conversations with people who can say yes to you, you're likely to have figured out how to actually do your sales calls, because they're going to ask you some questions. The first time you asked them, you're not going to have the fucking answers to them, and you're going to stumble all over it. Second time you answer it, I bet you have an answer for it. And that's how you figure out how to sell, as you go get punched in the face by getting in conversations with people who can say yes to you.
Hiring someone, it's easy for me to say it's all right if I don't sell as much this month. I can eat ramen. I lived in the middle of a desert for 9 months. All right. So, but it's a completely different thing when you have an employee to say, well, it's okay, they can eat ramen. That's never going to go through any of our heads as business owners. And when you hire that person, now you have that responsibility to support their family. So it's going to be much harder for you when you bring them on to slack off on the stuff, because it's not just what I eat tonight, it's what someone and their kids are going to eat. And you're not going to let yourself down. If you are going to let yourself down and not be able to support them, you maybe shouldn't be in business. If you aren't able to take that responsibility and say, I have employees, I got to make sure they can feed their family.
I love that pressure, man. There's a real thing about putting some hard times. So there's kind of that manufacturing the hard stuff, right? If you say, okay, I'm going to do it, I'm going to hire a person, then you better show the fuck up, right? Because it's not you that you're fucking anymore if it doesn't work. You're going to destroy somebody else's moment of life. You're not going to destroy their entire life, but you're going to destroy a moment of it. So you got to get after it.
All right, this is a fun question, but we're going to have some follow-up questions for it with this person. So can we get, Gene, can you get a mic and find Samantha?
Uh-oh.
So her question is, what if you don't like CEO, president, etc. as a title? So my follow-up question is, why don't you like them?
I guess past experience in the corporate culture. To me, they mean something that I don't want to be.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So past experience, basically, with those people in the corporate culture.
The only time you legally have to call yourself a CEO is when you're an actual corporation.
Right.
You don't have to call yourself fucking president. You don't have to call yourself shit. Somebody Google Elon Musk's business title for me. I don't remember what it actually is. Somebody find what Elon Musk's business title is. But there's a video out on YouTube of Elon talking about this, right? That he literally changed his corporation structure to change his title just to piss off the board. It's a great thing. So when you think, what is it? One more time.
Technoking of Tesla.
Technoking of Tesla, right? And he did that, and he actually went to the government. Techno King, that's it. Techno King of Tesla. And he actually went and filed the paperwork to do his SEC filing and all that stuff to show Techno King of Tesla. Call yourself whatever the fuck you want to call yourself. But you do need to have some structure, especially if you go a lot bigger.
Right.
There has to be a hierarchy. So I don't give a shit if you call yourself the chief, queen, cake queen, or whatever, right? And then everybody underneath you would call them muffins. I could give a damn.
So when we started building all the different success
cupcake.
Head cupcake. When we started building all the different success champions subdivisions / companies, I gave him the title on all the emails and stuff as founding badass. And I was like, nope. And he didn't change it. I didn't change it because people liked it. It resonated. It fit the brand. I'm chief for the longest time for Time Ontario. I was the chief sales enablement guy because I was like, it's just me. I'm not CEO of me, so I didn't want the title either. Right. But there is a certain point as your business grows that titles mean things. As you're working with other CEOs and interacting with them, if you come across as, I'm Chief Cupcake, it's gonna, it's gonna be they're not gonna know what that is.
Right. I will tell you, and if you're going after bigger clientele, there is some point of it that does matter. So when I was selling sales training in particularly, they quickly made me a vice president because now I could be vice president to call on presidents. Presidents weren't taking my calls, right? I instantly at that point got moved up to partner. So I can now say I'm the partner of the company and could get through the door. So if you're going after bigger companies, that will matter. But if you're otherwise, have fun with it, right? Chief Cupcake. The Chief Cupcake. Got it. I'm going to call you Muffin from now on, though.
Not when your wife's around. All right. This question is from Karen Oser, financial literacy.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, exactly. What is the biggest thing that has caught you off guard launching SCN?
Ooh, the biggest thing that has caught us off guard. That's actually pretty easy now when I think about it. When we first launched the networking groups, I heard a phrase over and over again, probably 500 fucking million times. Donnie, not everyone is built like you. We launched the groups. I'm a go-getter type guy, right? Freaking, that's the hill. Take the fucking hill. Right? Don't tell me how to take the hill. Just point the direction and say, go. I'll figure it the fuck out. That's how I operate. So we launched 5 chapters fucking instantly. And when we did that, we didn't have a whole lot of direction. We said, put a 3-person at the time leadership team together and go, make it happen. One of the gals that said yes, sitting right back there against the back wall, Miss Lori DeFranco, right? She was the only one that I think survived that initial launch of Presidents because she's a fucking go-getter, right? She could do it Donnie style. The rest of them needed the structure. I had no fucking clue how to give them the structure. Thank God I had Kevin around that goes, all right, here's the structure we needed. So it was a massive right hook when we started. And then we went a little bit too much structure and had to peel it back a little bit. But it was massive and highly annoying for him to say, Donnie, not everybody's like you. I don't hear it as often now. I'm learning.
Well, and he does it back to me too. And he'll say that to me when we're doing stuff. And it's like, not everyone is like you. And it's true. And it's a reminder for each of us as we're working on things to be thinking about how the other people are actually going to consume the process or the communication or our idea how it has to come across so that it's effective. And that's really key for us.
And I think, we build things to work for ourselves, right? During the VIP sessions, we would talk to them very specifically about, you've got to build the initial process and then you got to give that shit to somebody else and let them make the actual process, because you're going to build it to work for you. They're going to build it to work within what you need accomplished, but something that can be duplicated by somebody else. And once they finish what that process looks like, they'll come back and say, here's where we're at. So a lot of the evolutions of how the chapters are run is people coming back to us and say, hey, what do you think about this? Which allows us to juke and move on the fly. And we're really good at getting feedback. I learned to get good at getting feedback, but it allowed us to start thinking about, okay, how do we do this better? How do we, and luckily we've just stayed flexible and open to suggestions. We might walk away and say, fucking hell, but we'll listen.
All right, next one, and this is from Hildy, one of the sponsors of the really badass swag that was in your summit bags when you checked in.
And also donated a shit ton of free giveaway stuff for the trivia night, which is really, really cool.
All right, great client for over 10 years. This year, mistakes were made for the first time, and most of the buyers have ghosted me. I have to book a call with one of them that they need. What can I ask? What shouldn't I ask? And how personal should I get? My goal is to understand how to get the business back.
So, and I'm going to answer this from a big generic place. So here's my answer. Anytime you fuck up, fall on the sword. Lean in and say, I am so sorry. This is 100% on me. Even if you don't know what you did, right? You look at them and say, it's on me. Because here's one thing you need to understand. You cannot forgive a company, but you can forgive a person. Fall on the sword hard. Don't get very personal unless you have a personal relationship, right? The thing you can't do is go, oh my God, you can't leave me, right? Desperation smells, right? But you gotta go in, and if you don't know what you screwed up and the customer's pissed off at you, then use it. And I would reach out and I would say, obviously I've screwed up here. I'll take full responsibility for whatever I have done. Would you please help me understand so I can do better in the future, or I can fix whatever I've done, right? There's a chance you haven't done anything. There's a chance they just got really fucking busy. But when there's no communication, we start telling ourselves a lot of fucking stories, and shit gets really, really drastic really quick. And I can't tell you how many times the thing I thought was going to happen was 1 billion times more scary than what actually turned out. Because you're all up in your own fucking head.
I think at one point you had a story from when you were doing commercial printing about that, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had a very large 7-figure deal go south. And we bit off more than we could chew. And maybe probably shouldn't even took the deal on. And when it went south, it went south. Deliveries weren't made on time. We missed deadlines. It went bad. I immediately, so at that point, I was just selling, right? So what I mean is I had 3 CSRs underneath me. So I go sell, turn it over to somebody else so I could go sell more. And I immediately, they call me saying shit's breaking. I fly to the freaking customer, drive, it's all here. And I just walked up and instantly said 100%. No. I started off with, I looked into this and my company fucked up. And I said, I'm not sure what they did wrong, but I promise you, I'll fix it. I never did business with that company ever again. And the reason being, I blame the company, not me. It was a masterful fucking learning lesson to know they can forgive you as a person. They cannot forgive the company. Fall on the sword.
And we do that all the time with in SCN and Success Champions and everything. And it's no matter who did what, he always takes responsibility. Even when it's my fault, I know I did it. He's like, yeah,
sorry, my bad.
My bad. I'm like, no, it's literally was me. And he's like, no, it's my bad. I'm like, oh,
like if something happens in the chapters, I'm instantly in my head going, damn, that's my fault. Every time. And I promise you, if you start looking at the world and say, it's my fault, I'm not saying you have a fault. I'm saying it's my fault. You change your thinking almost instantly to fix mode. And you change the way you think about how you fix it versus the blame game. Well, they fucked it all up. No. Whatever breaks, whatever happens, that's my fault. Drives him nuts sometimes. He's like, no.
All right, this is question number 2 from Miss Laura DeFranco, CEO of Brave Healer Productions. See, she even spells it all the way out.
Yeah, I probably was there last year. This is why he's reading them all.
Yeah, I think it was last year after you didn't say that, then you handed them all to me and I did the rest of them. All right, her question is, how important is it to disqualify in a sales conversation? Oh my God, that's exactly the one thing you're supposed to be doing in a sales conversation. The issue that turns people salesy and makes your...
What do you mean by disqualify?
All right, so disqualify is getting them out of your pipeline. Finding the reason that they shouldn't be doing business with you because they're the wrong industry, they're the wrong personality type, they won't put in the work, whatever the criteria are for you, that someone shouldn't be your client. So normally in sales training, you get taught to qualify your customers, qualify your prospects. And what that does in your mind is it makes you try and find a reason that you should be continuing to talk to them. So what happens is when you, as a sales manager, we look at our sales team's pipelines, and they'll be huge. Like I have $1.5 million in my sales pipeline, but it'll be stuff that's been sitting around for months and isn't moving. But they're a good lead, they're a good prospect. Well, no, they're not, because they tried to qualify them so they could keep them in and have a number. So it looks like they're being successful and they're working. When they should have at the beginning said, hey, you know what, this isn't a good fit. Let me get you to these people who can help you or whatever. Because now that frees up your pipeline so that you can work with the right people and not waste your time on the people that aren't ever going to buy. Or if they do, you're then going to find it's like, oh my God, I didn't want these people as clients. This is horrible. This is hell on earth.
How many of you guys have had clients that you were like, oh shit, I should have never hired them? Right? If you start disqualifying up front, make a list of the fuck no's, right? The things you absolutely will not, deal with, work with. Spend a lot of your sales call making sure that you check off the boxes of things. You got a follow-up question? Hold on for a mic. Gene?
Chief Cupcake has a question.
Yeah.
Hot buns and cakes, by the way. You mentioned that. Anyways,
I have no idea what you said because you kind of just mumbled all through that shit.
Something about hot buns.
Hot buns and cakes. I said you didn't mention that with my question. How do you fire them without damaging the relationship and getting negative comments? You know what I mean? Like, for sure you don't want to work with this person, right? And you're disqualifying them.
So have you already taken money from them and done work, or is this in the sales process?
Sales process.
Oh, that's super easy. It's like, you know what?
Sorry.
It is really easy. You basically, you don't tell them, oh, you suck, I don't want to do business with you.
No, that's where I start.
Well, yeah. But you just reframe it. That's been Melanie's thing for the last few years. Let's reframe that.
She's trying to get me to reframe that.
But you basically are going to say, hey, this sounds awesome. I think you'd be really cool to work with, but I'm not the right fit for you because here's where I am. Here's what I do. But I want to introduce you to
Bingo.
Walmart.
No, you find, because here's the deal.
So you got another baker, cook, or something that's up and coming, that's hungry. Dump them to them.
Yeah. I have people who do what I do, but they're not at the level that I am. So I can handle clients who aren't ready to pay for me.
Don't worry about the level I'm in. It's really close. But tweak it just one little bit and say, you know what? I've got someone that specializes in this thing that would just fit you.
Yep.
Right? So they feel like they're getting a gift, and you just pass off your shitty clients, because to other people, those are going to be great clients because they're hungry. They can't sell. They're looking for the business. They're that year one business whore. I'll take anything.
Yeah. 1-800-WAL-MART.
So, yeah, and I have people on either side of me. I have people who have been doing this way longer than me and can do some really badass stuff that when I meet with clients, like, oh, God, I really wish I could do this, but I actually don't have that skill set yet. I'm going to push them to that person. And they do the same for me because they know what I can do, and it's usually stuff they don't want to mess with anymore. So I build this really cool referral partnership where we're able to pass clients back and forth, and now we're working in our genius zones with people. as opposed to trying to learn to do something or getting out of where we're comfort, where it's going to take longer. We may screw it up and then end up actually getting the bad review.
Also, another reason to do a shit ton of virtual coffees, so you can find these people you can pawn people off on.
Yep.
It's real.
All right. Next question is from Matt Redden, our photographer for the event.
Give it up for Matt fucking working his ass off.
So his question
Did we say his company name, Vitae?
Vitae, yep. You were like making them applaud when I said it. So
Well, I just want to make sure it's Vitae Photography, right? And you're based out of Fort Worth, is that right? Vitae Photography. What's the website? I forget. VitaePhotography.co. If you need a fucking photographer, that's your guy. Okay, go ahead.
All right, his question is, what advice would you give those of us in the creative industry to scale their company when automation is very difficult?
I need more meat on that bone. Hold on.
So in terms of post-production, editing, that's hard for creatives to bounce that to somebody else because there's other creatives here. We have our style that we work with. Automation for emails I can do, social media I can do.
My question is, to answer your question, do you want to build a business or do you want to keep creating a job for yourself? If you build the standards of that creativity and you build the parameters of what must be actually able to accomplish that meet your standards, you hire to those standards the people that will do the editing, but you got to give them very specific parameters. What we do is we try and outsource, and we're thinking, dude, nobody can do this shit as good as me. Nobody can do this shit as good as me. I'm just a fucking badass at this. Nobody can make a fucking cake like I can make a fucking cake, right? Or cup of shit. You don't want me baking, right? But you have to create standards that somebody else can achieve so you can get that shit off your plate. And then the other thing I hear from creatives, but that's what I love to do. That's my thing. Fuck off. Your thing is to go sell.
Yeah, that's not this creative. I like to shoot more than I like to edit, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would tell you, if it's a financial thing trying to figure out how do I offset that stuff, find somebody who's hungry. Go find somebody who's trying to learn how to do that. Mentor them, teach them, coach them, bring them up. All right. And there may be a chance that they free up enough time. You go get more business. They may become your permanent thing.
Okay.
Does that help?
Great. Yeah, that helps a lot. Helps a lot. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So I was saving this question to our last one just because it's actually a really good question. And this is from Dennis Devlin from Clarity Research and Strategy, who we are shocked is still alive because he was drinking every time Donnie said fuck this weekend. So, dude,
that's a lot.
Dude, we're impressed. All right. So his question is, 5 years into the business now, as you reflect back, what has been 2 or 3 aha moments of clarity you have had to drive the business forward?
The one was finding Kevin. And we did this on last year's podcast, but if you haven't heard, I mean, basically a really quick story of how I
swiped right.
swiped right, because that was a delete file. But really quick, I was fucking around in MailChimp. MailChimp completely fucking broke. And I went to a Facebook group and said, can anybody know how to fix MailChimp? Don't ever fucking do that. Everybody, I'm a freaking MailChimp expert. I can sell this to you. I got this pack. I'm the perfect person for you. Filled the fucking feed of assholes just trying to sell me stuff. Then one post goes like this 18-paragraph fucking answer that I went, fuck, that's my guy. So I sent him a DM. He jumped on a Zoom with me, and his first words out of his mouth were, I don't do MailChimp. But he sat with me, and he started helping me figure out all the stuff. I was like, cool, thanks, dude. See you. Like a fucking dumbass. 6 months later, somewhere in that time frame, MailChimp broke again. Because I was still doing my own fucking MailChimp. I called him up, and I said, dude, I fucking need you. I can't afford to pay you. How about we work out something? So he started working for me based on a commission structure of the results of what he was able to produce.
which I don't do for anyone. For some reason, I did it for him.
It's the baby
and
blues.
I did tell him we will be leaving MailChimp, and he will be going onto a system that I use if we're going to do this.
And I will tell you that's a sign of a good hire is when somebody says, we're doing this, we're doing it my way. Right? And we did. And then throughout the rest of the story is he just kept saying, hey, I can do that for you. Hey, I can do that for you. And now he's a partner in a company, co-founder of Success Champion Networking, right? So, but that was the biggest aha is quit doing it yourself, right? You know, the other one for me, and I'll let you throw one out there. The other one for me was quit building things. At one point, we had 6 companies going. And only one of them was making any fucking money. Anybody remember Success Champion magazine? We did that for a little while. You know how much money we made from that fucking thing? Not a goddamn dime. Not a dime. Literally not a dime, right? But we had 6 different things going, and it really became Success Champion Networking where we finally said, all right, this we're going all in on, right? So I would tell you, pick a lane quickly, make that your lane, and go all in on that thing.
I think one of the aha moments for me, and you're probably going to be surprised when I say this, I think one of the big aha moments for me was the coming to the understanding that, I could learn all the technical stuff and all that really cool stuff for how to do things operational-wise, but I also had to learn how to take care of myself and what was going on in my head.
This guy is not the mindset guy by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I'm busting his chops, but I'm doing it out of love. He doesn't do the woo-woo. He doesn't do the anything like the vision stuff. You know, you tell him, you know, write down a happy thought, those type of things. He's like, fuck it, I'm out.
Someone made me do a vision board at a retreat like 6 months ago, and that was like,
right.
So,
right. That's a great one, great example.
And it wasn't anything they did wrong. It was just it's not me. Donnie and I are exactly opposite that way. He's doing his vision board. He's talking about. He's like crying. I'm like, I can't do that in front of.
That's
people.
A real thing too.
Yeah, it's like I can't do that in front of people. So, but for me, it was, and he beats me up about it, and I beat him up about processes. And like you said, it is out of love because it's going to make both of us better. And I've had to figure out, all right, so what does it look like for a high C introvert to work on themselves? And because it's different. He was trying to make me work on myself like him.
That's true.
And thank God he has a genius for a wife.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Who's like,
she looked at me one day and said, you're not going to change him. He can only do that shit for himself. Quit trying. And I didn't realize that's what I was trying to do. And I went, fuck.
So, yeah, we had a really awesome conversation the following Monday. And then we figured out what me working on myself actually looked like and how it fit into because our model now on Mondays is the first thing we talk about our operations meeting.
Literally, we start our operations meeting with this.
What did you do to work on yourself last week? And there's been operation meetings where we literally spend the entire meeting just talking about that. And they're like,
fuck, we got to do the operation meeting.
Damn it. All right, when are we going to do our rest of our meeting this week? But that's been a big aha for me is the actual importance of doing that type of stuff and how you build it into your process. So when Donnie and I were applying this Champions 90 thing, he would keep asking me if I was going to do this, and I wouldn't answer.
That's real.
Because in my head, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this because I have to listen to things and write about what it means to me. I'm like, oh, gross. No, not me. So then one day after we'd had all these conversations,
you said, "Oh, gross."
Gross. I came back to the meeting and I said, all right, so I'm in for Champions 90. He's shut up, really? I'm like, yep, I'm gonna do it. So that's been the prior really recent aha. Yes, we need a microphone.
Coming.
She's like, I thought they were done.
So I'm a visionary like Donnie, and so that side of working on yourself makes a lot of sense for me. But my own husband and my kids and people I know are also high C's. And I think it would be super valuable if you shared at least even just a little bit of how you figured that out for yourself, because you just like dropped a like, "Ooh, look at this little present," and now we're gonna like shove it off and not open it.
Can I answer that and then you finish it up?
Go ahead.
So after Elizabeth told me to quit trying to change him, I literally racked my brains. I'm like, how the fuck do I actually get him to figure out that he needs to figure out to work on himself? And so what I said to him was, okay, quit trying to come back to me and say, what'd you do to work on yourself? Come back and tell me what you created. Come back and tell me what's the new thing you built for us, and walk me through it. And he lit the fuck up instantly.
Or the other question was, what did you learn? So and that was a big, I literally had this, he probably saw it on the video of me just like relaxing. Because I'd come to the meeting and I wouldn't know what to talk about, because he gets all these big,
and I was getting frustrated as fuck.
Yeah, he got these really big, he'd have these things on his walk where it's like, oh my God, it's like the rays of the clouds party is the ray of sun.
Everything was the greatest thing ever,
like,
right?
Oh, the choirs are singing for him. And I don't have those types of things pop into my world.
Just fucking annoying.
And I'd come to the meetings like, I don't know what I did this last week to work on myself, and it would piss him off. He's like, how do you not know what you did to work on yourself this last week? So I don't know. So for me, we figured out, for me, it's like, what did I learn? Is it an operational thing? Was it a cool tech thing that we can do? And now, I've found some other integrator type people that I resonate with, that are similar veins of what we do, but they're C's. And I've been able to start chatting with them, and now I'm learning stuff from them. And
which is really cool, because he's getting fucking excited about it, learning from other people that are teaching his style.
Yeah. So, and it's now I'm coming back with like, oh, I had this really cool thing. So it's really figuring out for those people how they learn and letting that work for them. You can't force them to have inspiration like you do.
And I'll tell you that he's done really well with it. And some of the things he's learned to do, he even said it as he was starting to do it. He goes, "Don't worry, Donnie. I'll put it in bullet points. I'll put pretty pictures, together." And I'll put one more aha for the both of us out there is, I finally got to a point this year where I was like, fuck, I can't get beyond this shit mentally on my own. So, get a therapist. Fuck. Woof. He's seeing her too.
Yeah, so am I. I'm seeing the same one. And he's mad at me because I don't tell her to fuck off. So he literally, during sessions when she has a breakthrough, he will tell her to fuck off.
And that's a real thing.
That's a real thing. And he gets mad at me. He's like, "How many times did you tell her to fuck off this week?" I'm like, "None. I don't tell her that."
I'm like, "Fuck off, Mandy."
And he worked on me a long time to get me to go to see Mandy. And then after I started going, that we had to have more conversations, because I don't understand how to do this. And it was coming back to, hey, you have these big things every week you meet with her, and I feel like I'm just having a conversation and I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling or getting out of it. Hi, C, we don't do feelings. So, so we, it's almost, and it's funny because we both talked to her about talking to each other, about talking to her. So it's like this really meta relationship thing going on. But it's funny, we'll get on our.
Oh, you want to make it worse?
Yeah.
Keith sees her too.
Yeah. And we were probably getting the other bovine boy to go to at some point as well. But yeah, so it's since we started having those conversations, and and I'm able to now open up to someone I trust about those things, and I know it's relatively safe to share things with him.
Fuck no.
But it is safe. But he's gonna bust my ass when he needs to. It's gotten easier.
And I'll tell you, from like a business partnership standpoint, if you can't have these level of conversations, your partnership will never work, right? You're going to spend more time with the people you work with than you will your own damn family. And if you can't get to these now, there's a system of scale, right? There's going to be employees and things that eventually work for you that you're not going to be able to have it. But when it's the top guys in the fucking thing, you better be able to have these type of conversations. And you better be able to talk through how to get to this type of conversation. once again, we've been working together, what, 3 years, 4 years? Almost 4, yeah. And we just started doing this year, just to give you guys an example of how long it's taken us to get to this level of conversation.
And we've had conversations about, as we grow our team and bring people on, that we have to develop on looking at, all right, so how is our day-to-day relationship going to be changing, and how, making sure that we are, we're prepared for that on our personal levels and how we work with each other, so that,
like, yeah, can we get some women in our damn company? Jesus.
So, and it's really so that, if I'm now developing this piece and I have employees and I'm not giving him attention, or he's developing, working with territory leaders, and I'm not getting the same amount of attention, that there isn't any resentment going on. So we've become very open with what's going on. There's no hesitation for either of us to actually tell the other one what's going on in our
or
head.
fuck off.
Or to fuck off. Yeah. And tell them that they're wrong, and here's why. And we'll battle it out sometimes.
So, but we need to start wrapping this up so we can get this. This is a long fucking episode. We may have to break this one up in a couple, 2 episodes. So, but guys, this has been really fucking cool. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for coming to this summit. Fucking do us a favor when this comes out. They're all fake clapping at the moment. It's kind of funny to watch. When this comes out, freaking tag yourself in it, share it, share the love. It helps us out tremendously. So as always, from Growth Mode, love you, mean it. See you, bye.